The biggest misconception I heard yesterday after John Seidler was unanimously approved as the new control person for the Padres. And I got this at work, people just asking, so this settles this settles everything now. Now we know now the Padres have some, certainty going forward. And I go, nothing's really changed from yesterday, 24 hours. Nothing is different from yesterday. Well, we always knew that owners would make this step and approve John Seidler as the control person, but it does not change the lawsuit that was filed by Shiel Seidler in a Texas court, and we still don't know how long that's going to go on or what a judge will end up ruling. She has asked for everything that the trust has done to be undone, including naming John Seidler as the control person. Now, if she doesn't win her case, and we've seen legal speculation. Dennis Lin wrote in The Athletic, talked to lawyers, said doesn't seem like she's got a strong case legally, but that's, that'll be decided in a court. Then, yes, John Seidler will go on being the control person, and there will be certainty at some point. But this was simply another step. You did hear yesterday from Rob Manfred that, Peter Seidler had filed documents with Major League Baseball as well, succession documents, and Rob Manfred said, I believe this is what Peter wanted. I believe these were his wishes to have, John Seidler go forward as the control person for the San Diego Padres. Is it self-serving of their interest, perhaps, to have more certainty and have that settled? That's absolutely possible, but that at least is the take of Major League Baseball as well, aligning with John Seidler and the Seidler Trust right now in terms of what the future of the Padres looks like.
Yeah, and what it does, and we talked about this a lot yesterday, though. It just gives be honest, it gives you somebody to yell at. You know what I mean? It does. It gives you somebody. If things don't go the right way, it puts a face to the franchise, does it not? It gives you the face of the franchise, the guy that's going to be controlling the team. And as non-controversial as it may have been within the boardroom there where they voted unanimously, look, it gives us now, okay, John, we would love to talk to you, and what are your plans for the team? I did see a blurb that came out on Twitter yesterday in regards to payroll. Here it is. It's in Kevin Acey's article.
Yep, I saw it too.
It says the Padres plan to have a payroll of around $200 million, which they believe will place them in the top 10 among MLB's 30 teams. Eric Katsenda, a longtime friend and business partner of Peter Seidler, minority owner in the Padres, will continue as the team's control person until John takes over. Then he will move into an advisory role. But the club's messaging now is that the new boss is expected to be the same as the old boss. That I don't get. That one I don't get. The new boss, and the new boss being John, the old boss being Eric, or new boss being John, old boss being Peter.
I read, well,
that's different.
That's a good point. I read that as the philosophy of the organization isn't going to change all of a sudden one day. Hey, new owner. Oftentimes, when a new owner steps in, and there's a big change, sweeping changes.
Right.
Comes in and he wants to put his stamp on the organization. Clean house, new CEO, new front office, new general manager. They're going to bring in a whole new staff and bring in his own people. That is not expected to happen. You're not expecting to see major changes within the Padres organization simply because they have a new control person. That's how I read that statement.
I got an email yesterday from somebody that works in PR, and they said, this has been fascinating as someone who works in PR and is also a Padres fan, because, of course, you're going to look at it from a PR perspective and go, okay, have they done everything the right way? I don't think they have. I think they would admit, they haven't done everything the right way with all of this. Do they still have a chance to salvage it? Sure, absolutely. It's the thing about public relations, Benny, is that it continues. I mean, it's not. It's infinite almost. You have to try to do the next right thing, and you curry more favor with your fan base. Then you're going to do something where the fan base is mad at you for a while. Then you curry more favor. It never ends. Working in PR would be a nightmare because there's no finite ending.
I mean, think of AJ Preller in the last 10 years.
100%.
We've gone through cycles of rock star GM to throw this bum out on his keister.
Yeah.
Back to Rockstar GM.
Yeah, on his keister, see?
Back to how could he possibly do that? I mean,
back to, oh my God, this is the best job you've ever done. It's true. It's like it never ends. So at this point, I don't know. Honestly, like, I don't know how I feel when I saw the Padres plan to have a payroll of around $200 million.
Well,
what are we at right now?
$195.
All right, so you got $5 million.
That's basically what I saw from like Spot Track is that the Padres are currently at around $195. So
okay, so if they don't move anybody,
if they don't make any trades, you only have a little bit to add. Now you could probably add, a $2 million outfielder and a $2 million pitcher or something like that, and still stay at around $200 million. But if you want to add more, you'd probably have to clear some salary somewhere.
Josh wants to know, how is John Seidler related to Peter O'Malley? The exact same way that Peter Seidler was.
Grandson.
His grandson. It's wild. Did you see that picture of Peter O'Malley holding Peter Seidler when he was a baby? It was crazy. I saw it yesterday. It just, again, it gives you somebody that you can point to say, all right, good, hey, great job, or, hey, that sucked. We need to do better moving forward. Andy says, how many teams in the top 10 have no TV deal? That's a good question. That's a really, really good question. I know there's a lot of teams in flux, the Padres being one of them. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I was – anytime you can get a little bit of clarity, that's a good thing. But I just don't know how much this is going to offer, at least for the next 30 days or so. I mean, he's got basically a 30-day window until the – quote-unquote paperwork is filed and approved and all that, but, we'll see. We'll see. I look forward to the chance of getting to talk to him. I really do.
Like, I wonder, is he, already starting to move stuff into an office, talking to AJ about some plans?
These are the things I would kill to know, Paulie.
Can they, not do any of that until he's officially the controller?
Yeah, I would kill to know these. I mean, there's so many behind the scenes. There's a lot of this stuff that's happened this offseason. I'm like, I'm done. I'm tired of hearing about it, blah, 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 blah.
All we do know is, today, this morning, AJ Preller gets a phone call from their GM. They've got a deal in place. He needs to get it approved by...
Katsenda.
Still Katsenda, right?
Yep. Based on Kevin Acey's article, I'd say that's a fair assumption.
But my guess would be at this point, Eric Katsenda's not doing anything without picking up the phone and asking John Seidler what he thinks as well.
That's fair.
It's possible that's been going on for a while now.
It's true. Somebody said it could have happened, even last year. So, but I made the analogy yesterday about Eric Katsenda being the substitute teacher, and you can't yell at the substitute teacher. They're just subbing at this point. This is different. Teacher's back. Teacher's back from sabbatical. Teacher's back. They're ready. You're the person leading. Yeah, you got the real teacher in there. And now this is where the heat comes on you, or the adulation and praise if you get something done that people love.
I think ultimately, and I don't know where Kevin got that $200 million number. It does has a ring.
Imagine from the front office, right?
Probably. It has a ring of truth to it, and it's once again, I think it bears repeating. It's not a bad number for the Padres to be at. That's a respectable payroll for their market size, for their TV deal. They are not cheaping out on their team. And I think to characterize that, and a lot of fans do say, oh, the Padres are just cheaping out. They're going back to their penny pinching ways. That's not true. But it's also true that at this moment, $200 million isn't enough to address the needs of your roster.
Yeah, it's such a look. It's a it's a tough conversation to have because anybody can just point to a number and say, "This is what we're currently spending. You guys can all suck it. Look at this number. Okay, that's more than you ever imagined you would spend." Okay, that was under an old regime. That was some weighty, inflated contracts that we've handed out. That's kind of our lot in life that they were handed. They were handed, essentially, that payroll. When you get handed, it's like if somebody gives you $200 million. You can't go on the air and go, look what I built. Look what I did. No, that's what you were given. So they were given this payroll. I don't know that you can beat your chest about it. Now, if you go out and spend an extra $50 million or $40 million, yeah, man, that's cool. That's great. You've just upped payroll by 20%. That's fantastic. That proves to me you're committed. And I'm not saying you have to go spend $40 million. But what I'm saying is beating your chest over a top 10 payroll that somebody else is responsible for, that's kind of a tough putt for me.
I'll tell you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I've been looking at, and that is I don't want to see the Padres make a move that clearly makes the team worse just to save money, like a real fire sale type move.
100, Ben, that'd be devastating.
Like like trading Xander Bogaerts and giving up, like a Leo Dallas DeVries to get someone to take on their contract, and then not reinvesting that money in the team.
Yes, that would be terrible.
I've heard people
happen like with the Nationals, like they got the new owners that were the ones that had to trade Juan Soto. I remember there was like their first move as ownership.
Now,
they had to move.
Juan Soto wasn't expensive though at the time. They traded Juan Soto because they didn't want to lose him for nothing.
Yeah,
that's not a bad baseball move. That's an art, just like the Padres did. That's a baseball move that you're arguing in the long term is making your team better. That's all I want to see from the Padres. I just want to make sure you're operating from a baseball perspective. You don't necessarily have to increase the payroll to convince me you're trying to win. You just can't cut payroll just for the sake of cutting payroll, knowing there's no GM in the world who would do this deal unless they were simply being forced to cut payroll.
Correct. Yeah,
this is a bad deal unless your only goal is to cut the payroll of your roster.
That would be malpractice. That would be tough to swallow.
And I haven't. The Padres cut a lot of payroll last year, but I wouldn't argue that they made any moves that were bad deals. In fact, it turned out the Juan Soto deal was a pretty good deal for the team.
If they did make that move, like let's just use that example, DeVries and Xander for a team to eat.
Yeah,
most,
yes,
if not all of Xander's contract.
I don't
know if that partner even is out there, but if you were able to get that deal done, there's still nothing. There's not a whole lot out there that AJ can do with that free money this year.
Right,
like it would still be until the next offseason before any of that freedom that he now has, flexibility.
Now, you could invest it in a Jackson Merrill contract. You could invest it in a Michael King contract. And that could be...
That would go...
You could argue, but from baseball terms, you gave up a good prospect, but it allowed you to keep two-star players locked up for the future. That's a baseball move. But if you just do it, and now we have a $175 million payroll. Wow, but now you've lost one of your best prospects and you didn't do anything with that money.
Yeah.
That's when I would start getting concerned about the direction of the franchise.
Bro, you're seeing it in San Francisco right now. You're seeing it. It's exactly just cleared $7, $8, $9 million or whatever for Tyler Rogers, and their GM is like, we're not doing anything else. And fans there are understandably pissed. They're pissed. It's
even though they added, Justin Verlander and Willie Adames this offseason. It's not like they didn't do anything.
That's true.
But so that's kind of what nothing the Padres have done. Yeah, they haven't gone out and signed free agents, but they haven't made a stupid baseball move this offseason.
Yeah.
Because they really haven't made any baseball moves this offseason, but they haven't made like a one that you go, well, that's a head scratcher. I don't understand why a team would do that other than they're trying to save money.
Yeah.
And they have not done a move like that.
Like if you take over as the control person for the San Diego Padres with season tickets sold out and 60 plus whatever it was sellouts last year, and your first move is some move that looks like a fire sale move, who wants that gig? Who wants that gig? I mean, who would want that? So again, we don't know enough about John. And listen, I've heard things, and I hope that, again, our ultimate hope is that he wants to win. That's really all you want to hear from your owner is I want to win, I'm committed to winning, and I want to win a World Series. I mean, it's such an easy thing to say, but you have to back it up, obviously. And it's not all money, certainly. It's not just all money. But, yeah, man, I think this is it's a big step, and, I anxiously await when that 30 days is over, and so we can get, again, even a little more clarity on what's been a tumultuous and cloudy offseason.